You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion. Delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take of your family, your business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan or a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And there is a lot to celebrate today. Maybe not if you're living in the Philadelphia area. You may not be very excited about it.
It is what it is.
I love listening to folks talking about one bad call at the end of the game. But did that bad call have any more effect on the game than the missed pass interference call against the Chiefs in the first half? So 38 points. I don't think one call accounts for 38 points. Just throw that out there for you. So many of us, though, I'm glad that you're listening to us, because there's a lot of people that I think just took the day off. National Football Hangover Day today. That is today. National Football Hangover Day. Not that we're tired of football. It's just that, we may have indulged just a little extra yesterday. Did you indulge? What was your best part of the game? Halftime? I didn't. I wasn't. It was. They were in Arizona. Why are they wearing long gowns and that kind of stuff? I don't get it. I mean, you would thought that they were in Minnesota or something. But it is what it is. How about Chris Stapleton and the national anthem? I enjoyed that part. I'm a country music guy, so I don't care whether it's Chris Stapleton or Carrie Underwood or Darius Rucker. Doesn't matter. Great. Today's also Galentine's Day. I don't know about that one either, so we're gonna skip that one today. We're not gonna celebrate. Maybe I don't even qualify. I don't know. Clean out your computer day. Yeah, that's called hard crash. No, I don't like that one either. So let's just go with the ones that make sense to me. National Cheddar Day. Didn't we have a lot of cheddar yesterday with with nachos and everything? That might have, I don't know. I don't know about this one. And Tortellini Day. The Tortellini Day makes a lot of sense to me because many of us could use something that's pretty absorbing. A little tortellini, the pasta, and I don't know, whatever you put inside of it, a little red sauce. Well, we don't have red sauce on this one, but that's okay. If you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv or any of our socials, you're seeing our Tortellini Day right there today. So I don't know. Is it Monday or is it just the day after the Super Bowl? Is that why I kind of feel kind of melancholy? Josh, you melancholy today too? You kind of a little. We're here. We're doing what we do. We're out there trying to get you some good information. Don't know what's going on in the markets, though. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 307 points right now. The S&P 500 is up 40. NASDAQ is up 168. Oil up 7 cents a barrel. So all of those things are going to translate into interest rates. Seeing the 10-year Treasury is down just a little bit, so we'll look into that one as well, what's going on there. Gasoline prices, do we want to even know? Yeah, they're on the rise again. $4.65 right here in the formerly Golden State. We're moving up. We're going to bet by the time we get to summer, you think we'll be at over 5 a gallon again? Probably. Josh is over 4, though. They're at 4.15 out there in Nevada. That's probably so all the people can get out of town right now. They want to make a little extra money. So 4.15 is the average for the state of Nevada. Arizona. Well, wait a second. Josh, you could probably get down to Arizona for $3.45 a gallon and get a little gasoline there. Jody, our processing queen right there, is $3.45 a gallon. Colorado, Brittany, $3.99. So they're still, Jody, Lori, I mean, $3.14 a gallon. Louisiana, $3.14 a gallon compared to us here in California, $1.50 more. And the governor, Governor Clueless has no idea why this is happening. He thinks it's just because the oil companies want to make more money. Well, of course they want to make more money. That's what they're in business to do. But the bottom line is, do you think they want to make any more money in California than they want to make in Louisiana? Yet their prices are $3.13 a gallon. What do you think is the difference? Could it be regulation? Yeah, probably. It's not like they do any more refining here than they refine in Louisiana. So maybe it's just about the regulation that we're dealing with. Unbelievable. Hawaii, $4.80. I'm going to have to go check this one, $4.88 a gallon in Hawaii. So we're watching all of these things, what's going on in all these different areas for you. And we're also watching the markets. Get more news today. We'll talk more about it in just a little bit in the Mortgage Minute. Government making some changes that may affect some of our forecasts. One of the things we can forecast pretty well until the government starts changing things for their own benefit. So we're going to be watching that. Well, we've got the CPI numbers coming out tomorrow, so we'll get some numbers there. Did you watch the some of the cutaways during the Super Bowl? Here's what gets me. Now, if there was any team that I like in the NBA, which they make it harder and harder to like anything in the NBA, but I kind of follow the Lakers a little bit. Now, LeBron James, yes, he breaks the record over there for beating Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, most points scored. But then he can't play basketball for a couple of days because his foot hurts him. But he was certainly well enough to leave the team and go to the Super Bowl. Now, I understand why he went to the Super Bowl. Some people look at it and say, okay, he wants to go and watch the game. No, that's not it. The real reason that he's at the Super Bowl instead of with his team in Portland is because that's where other business is being done. There's a lot of the corporate execs are all out there in Arizona at the Super Bowl. So he can go out there and meet with all these corporate execs and not care two hoots about the effect that it has on his team where, he's not getting any treatment as he goes in and out of the Super Bowl. He's not getting any treatment while he's there for 4 hours or 5 hours or however many hours. But something, when you're LeBron James, it's all about you. You don't care about the team. He's demonstrated that winning is not what he's about. It's his personal stats. Again, my opinion, but that's just the issue right there. Could not stand up to Michael Jordan. He couldn't stand up to Magic Johnson. He couldn't even get close to the greatest of all time, my opinion, Wilt Chamberlain. A lot of people don't remember the numbers that Wilt put up. Never missing a minute of any game or overtime for an entire season. You get somebody like Anthony Davis. He doesn't play an entire season. He does. I don't think he's got 82 games in yet since he's with the Lakers. Maybe he's got that many. I better get off my soapbox. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, what you should know about closing costs, that's a mortgage issue. What to do if you've been laid off, that's a mortgage issue. And we've got a Mortgage 101 report, how to use a buy-down strategy. We're going to talk about all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
79% of all credit reports have errors that should be corrected through factual disputing. You could be saving thousands every year if your report was accurate. CreditSanitizer.com provides a free credit report audit when you furnish a specific $1 credit report. You can use this information to request corrections to your report and potentially save thousands of dollars. Get your free credit audit at CreditSanitizer.com. That's CreditSanitizer.com for a free credit report audit. CreditSanitizer.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. S&P 500 now up 38.89. And we're going to look at every day at this time. OBMMI, they provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry, calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. 30-year conforming loans up last Friday, 6.333. 30-year jumbo loans up last Friday, 6.476. 30-year FHA loans up last Friday, 6.29. 30-year USDA loans, those are for the rural areas, generally no down payment, down a little bit on Friday, 6.169. And the best loan on the market, the 30-year VA loan, 6.08. That was up a decent amount last Friday. The question becomes, why? Now remember, these are the locking rates. They don't tell us what the cost was to get these rates, but that's the locking rates. We do know, though, that's all historical information. And today, the 10-year Treasury is down 1 basis point at 3.73. Mortgage-backed securities are up 5 basis points. That's the bond price, which means the yield is down a little bit, down 5 basis points. And we're going to look at why this is happening and give you a little bit of insight. Tomorrow, we've got a big CPI report. That's what drives what the Federal Reserve is doing. We're not going to see a whole lot of change, I don't believe. The BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, who puts out the jobs report, also puts out the Consumer Price Index report. So we've covered the changes in the jobs report and substantial revisions and adjustments, and there were some made to CPI as well. Some of the figures from last year were revised lower in the earlier months and higher in the later months, which changes some of the replacement figures, which we have shown you in the past. The last reading for December showed core inflation at 5.7. The market was originally expecting a drop to 5.4, but after some of these revisions and quirks within the report, we're only anticipating a drop to 5.5. There is an adjustment with insurance plans and Medicare that occurs in January, could provide a 0.1% bump. Additionally, we did see a jump in used car prices and gas in January. We all feel that. Taking this all into account, think a little bit improvement in core CPI, but nothing significant. The question is, how will the market react? The market will like the fact that we see progress or be disappointed with less progress than initially thought. Core drop again, 5.7 to 5.5 is our forecast. The other thing that we've learned over the years from our friends over at Chapman University is another key component of watching some of these things in the inflation world. And we know the definition of inflation is too many dollars chasing too few goods. So the money supply is an important component. A very, very common measure of the money supply is M2, which includes cash, checking deposits, and other type of deposits that are readily convertible to cash, such as CDs. But Lacey Hunt believes ODL, other deposit liabilities, is an even better measure. It makes up about 80% of the M2 measure and eliminates cash and retail money market funds. Cash is being accepted in an increasingly smaller amount of places and is not used for big purchases. And retail money market funds were never a real medium of exchange. ODL really looks at the energizing component of the money supply and that decreased by 1.8% last year, the first decline on record. Saw a big increase in the money supply, well above the longer-term trend during 2020 and 2021 as the Fed printed money. But with the Fed tightening, they are now vacuuming up that excess, and based on the trajectory, it appears that by the summer, most of the excess will be removed. This means that we'll likely continue to see the money supply and inflation decrease, especially around mid-year. Of course, that translates to lower mortgage rates and lines up with our thoughts being around May 10th, being a great day in the bond market. That's the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage 101 today, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It's wrong. What are you doing about it? Mortgage 101, buyers and sellers can win with a buy-down strategy. How does both sides win? Well, it's pretty simple. If you will go to rsrbuydown.com, rsrbuydown.com. Got a full demonstration there of how these work. But let's give you the highlights. What if you could make a full offer on a house and have the seller pay money to lower your mortgage interest rate? Sound too good to be true? Well, it's not. And it is definitely a strategy worth looking into for buyers, sellers, and agents. We all know that there is a lot of uncertainty and volatility in the market today. Inflation and rising interest rates are putting pressure on everyone. But before you give up the idea of buying or even selling your home right now, let's look at a strategy that can truly be a win-win for everyone. And I'm going to show it to you or explain it to you right here, right now. And again, you want a full demo, rsrbuydown.com, rsrbuydown.com. The goal of this strategy is to maximize affordability and submit offers that stand out from competition. So how does it work? Before we get into the details of submitting an offer using a buy-down strategy, let's briefly explain the basics of a buy-down. What is a buy-down? It's a way for a buyer to obtain a lower interest rate by paying discount points at closing. Discount points may also be referred to as mortgage points or prepaid interest points and are a one-time fee paid up front. Since mortgage rates are forecasted to continue rising, that was 2022. Now they're looking at flattening or declining a little bit this year. The buy-down method can be a useful tactic to allow you to buy a home and unlock the value and protect yourself against rate hikes. Who can buy down a mortgage? Although typically it's the buyer who benefits from a buy-down, the buyer is not always the one who buys down a mortgage. Sellers can also be responsible for purchasing points to lower the buyer's interest rate. Let's look at how a buy-down strategy works. As the housing market shifts, so can home prices. While we do not expect housing prices to rapidly decline, there may be a slowing in the market. Sellers do not want to lower the listing price of their home, so using a buy-down strategy can help them to maintain the listing price of the home while allowing buyers to be able to qualify for the home. It also allows agents to maintain their income. In today's market, it truly is a win-win. So let's talk about how a buy-down can work using seller concessions. A seller concession is used for the explicit purpose of buying down the buyer's interest rate. There are many benefits to using seller concessions or seller paid discount points. Let's look at the benefits in using this strategy. Price reduced alternative. We'll begin by talking about the price reduced alternative that is often the first negotiation strategy that buyers consider. Instead of submitting an offer at the reduced price, you present your offer at the full price, and your original asking price offer will stand out from others. Win-win strategy. You're offering the seller of the home a higher net from the sale of the home if they help you, the buyer, reduce your interest rate and payment. They get a full price offer on their house. In turn, they only pay your discount points, so you get a lower interest rate. Now, let's look at how to write an offer using the buy-down strategy, how to write it into the offer. Seller concessions designated as a bona fide discount points should be disclosed on the purchase contract. This statement should simply state that all monies are applied directly toward buying down the interest rate of the buyer. Presenting your offer to the seller, it's best to have your lender record a video to accompany offer packages that break down the return on investment to the seller and how accepting your offer is a win-win for both parties. Best case, you can get your lender on a call, that's me or my team, with the seller's agent to make sure they understand the offer. The bottom line is agents, sellers, and buyers should at least be aware of the buy down option. If the numbers work and the seller is open to a little creativity, make it happen. And again, check out the whole demo, rsrbuydown.com, rsrbuydown.com. That's Mortgage 101, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report and it's wrong. What are you doing about it? Mortgage 101. When we come back, let's chat about what you should know about closing costs, what to do if you've been laid off, and we've got more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We will be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Is your budget getting blown up with high prices of gas and increased costs for other household needs? This is Ron Siegel, host of the daily Home and Finance radio program. Did you know if you have a low interest rate mortgage along with auto debt, credit card debt, your family could potentially save $500 or more by restructuring these debts? If you'd like a free Borrow Smart analysis with our team, let's book an appointment to see how we might be able to relieve some stress. Schedule your appointment at rsrbsa.com. That's rsrbsa.com for your free Borrow Smart analysis. rsrbsa.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to radio. With every market, there are solutions, tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and we'll be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 306-1990, the real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit RSR Home Scout, rsrhomescout.com. Great tool. Gives you info about the value of your existing property, gives you information about about 97% of all properties listed nationwide. Real estate agents have great information, but for the most part, most of them do have information on properties that are outside their marketplace. That's not what they do. Our homescout.com, they have it, rsrhomescout.com. What you should know about closing costs if you're selling your house, you need to know about this. If you're selling your house, you want to get the home seller's guide, rsrhsg.com. rsrhsg.com is where you can get a free copy. Now, we update this every single quarter, rsrhsg.com. What you should know about closing costs before you buy a home: it's important to plan ahead. While most buyers consider how much they need to save for a down payment, many are surprised by the closing costs they have to pay. To ensure you are not caught off guard when it's time to close on your home, you need to understand what closing costs are and how much you should budget for. What are closing costs? People are sometimes surprised by closing costs because they don't know what they are. According to Bankrate, quote, closing costs are the fees and expenses you must pay before becoming the legal owner of a house, condo, or townhome. Closing costs vary depending on the purchase price of the home and how it's being financed. In other words, your closing costs are a collection of fees and payments involved with your transaction. According to Freddie Mac, while they can vary by location and situation, closing costs typically include government recording costs, appraisal fees, credit report fees, lender origination fees, title service fees, tax service fees, survey fees, attorney fees, underwriting fees. How much will you need to budget for closing costs? Understanding what closing costs include is important, but knowing what you'll need to budget to cover them is critical too. According to Freddie Mac article mentioned, the costs to close are typically between 2 and 5% of the total purchase price of the home. With that in mind, here's how you can get an idea of what you'll need to cover closing costs. Let's say you find a home you want to purchase for the median price of $366,000. Based on the 2 to 5% Freddie Mac estimate, your closing costs could be roughly $7,500 to $18,500. Keep in mind, if you're in the market for a home above or below the price range, your closing costs will be higher or lower. Again, those are national numbers. I know in many parts of the sound of my voice, that we're looking at double or triple those prices. You can call us, give us a call, and we can give you a generic idea of what closing costs are much, much more specifically. Our team has a lot of mobile apps that'll help with that. And also, don't forget, if you're also in buying, I mentioned earlier about selling, but if you're buying a house, our home buyer's guide, rsrhbg.com, rsrhbg.com. So what's the best way to make sure you're prepared at closing? Freddie Mac provides great advice for home buyers. As you start your home buying journey, take the time to get a sense of all costs involved, from your down payment to closing costs. Don't forget, our friends at Geneva have a 100% loan for most anybody. Yes, veterans, you get the best loan. You earned it. USDA, generally no down payment. And the Down Payment Assistance Program, DPA, 100% financing. So you're going to get the loan and then the difference of what your loan amount, with limitations, not everybody qualifies, but with limitations, gets put in as a silent second that gets forgiven if you keep the house for 10 years or keep the loan for 10 years. But if you're refinancing or selling before that, then you have to pay it back. So good information right there. Bottom line, it's important to plan for the fees and payments you'll be responsible for at closing. Give us a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Let's chat about what's going on in the marketplace so you're prepared. And again, get the tools. Home Buyer's Guide, rsrhbg.com, rsrhbg.com. Or you can get the Home Seller's Guide, rsrhsg.com, rsrhsg.com. And never forget, you need to make sure your credit is in place ahead of time. So one of the best tools that I know of for that you have complete control over, that can help you increase your credit score, rsrccpayment.com, rsrccpayment.com. Just by paying your credit cards the right way and at the right time, you can actually you can improve your FICO score, increase your FICO score, improve it. In many instances, not always, rsrccpayment.com. That is the real-time real estate segment, again, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. And you're going to obviously love the idea. I like giving things away, so we're going to give you a bonus today. We might do another real-time real estate segment so that you can get another bit of information for you. Experts forecast a turnaround in the housing market in 2023. That is the subject of this real-time real estate segment. Experts are expecting a turnaround. Let's see what that means. Again, it's brought to you by our friends at rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Let's see what the experts have to say. The housing market has gone through a lot of change recently, and much of that was a result of how quickly mortgage rates rose last year. Now, as we move through 2023, there are signs things are finally going to turn around. Home price appreciation is slowing from the recent frenzy. Mortgage rates are coming down. Inflation is easing, and overall market activity is starting to pick up. All of that's great news for the housing market this year. Here's what experts are saying. Christian Deritis, Deputy Chief Economist, Moody's Analytics, quote, "The current state of the housing market is that it is certainly in transition," unquote. Now, that was probably one of the most astute comments that I've heard in a long time. Surprise. Susan Wachter, Professor of Real Estate and Finance, University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School. Housing is going to ease up. I think 2023 will be a turnaround year, unquote. Lawrence Yoon, Chief Economist at the National Association of Realtors, NAR, quote, "Mortgage rates have fallen in recent past weeks, so I'm very hopeful that the worst in home sales is probably coming to an end," unquote. Lawrence Dietz, Chief Economist and Senior Vice President, National Association of Home Builders, NAHB, for those of you who are keeping score. In the coming quarter, single-family home building will rise off of cycle lows as mortgage rates are expected to trend lower and boost housing affordability, unquote. Bottom line, if you're thinking about making a move this year, a turnaround in the housing market could be exactly what you've been waiting for. Let's talk. And again, I'm going to share with you, I've shared this over and over again. I will continue to share the information with folks, is if you got frustrated in the last couple of years because we knew prices were going up, okay, we knew interest rates were extraordinarily low, got it, multiple offers all the time, you can't control that. So what were you doing? You were getting outbid, you were getting frustrated. Now we're at a point where interest rates rose more than we've ever seen before. They doubled in less than a year. They're starting to flatten out. They've actually come down a bit from where they were in November. I think we peaked out right around 7.14. So we've come down a bit. Now, if you wait, what are you waiting for? The likelihood is you would be waiting for interest rates to come down, and you think prices are going to come down. I'm going to tell you, prices are not coming down dramatically, in my opinion. I watch a lot of stats. What would be the catalyst for prices coming down? A glut of inventory market. What would cause a glut of inventory to come onto the market? People needing to sell. Why would they need to sell? Well, because they can't afford the 3% mortgage rate they have and they can only afford a 6%. Well, if they lose their jobs, we're seeing a lot of job losses. A lot of it, though, is in tech. A lot of those that are in the tech world, they're living in unbelievably expensive areas, and they've got a tremendous amount of equity. Do you think that they want to be there, or that's where their job is or was? And then they got a big severance package when they left. So those folks could be selling, and we could see a drop in values in those areas, specific areas. That's maybe 3 or 4 cities around the entire country. The rest of us, we're down here saying, okay, there's no real reason to sell. There's no reason to force us to sell. Now, if you're creating a new household, you want to buy. If you've got a probate issue or a trust sale, okay, that might be a property that needs to be sold. Divorces many instances need a sale. And job relocations need a sale. Is there something that ties in with what I just said there? Those are all just catalysts. There's some sort of catalyst, and those things happen all the time. It's not like this is anything special. This is anything new. We get those catalysts all the time. So nothing bringing a lot of inventory onto the marketplace in the horizon. Builders aren't even building a whole lot above what they absolutely need to. Nothing to bring the supply level up. Supply is what would cause, if there's an imbalance between supply and demand, if supply is too high, pricing comes down to create more demand. So the idea about this whole thing about waiting it just doesn't make any sense. There's no facts behind it unless you want to wait for the frustration, because if interest rates do come down, which they historically do during a recession, then what's going to end up happening is you're going to start seeing, okay, we got more of a buying frenzy coming into the marketplace, and that's what you were trying to get away from that you just experienced. So just be careful of what you wish for. You may not exactly like it. So we're going to talk about that more. What do you do if you've been laid off? We'll chat about that one. Confused about what's going on in the housing market? Lean on a professional. We'll chat about that one as well. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you missed any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It's wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has these solutions for you for a very, very limited time. You can go to CreditSanitizer.com, fill out the form. We're going to send you back a link to get a trial on a credit report. $1 is the cost of that specific credit report. You can cancel it after we've finished what we're doing with it. But then we're going to give you or offer you or waive the fee for you, limited time only, do a credit audit. It costs $197. The fee is totally waived for a limited amount of time. Call it our Super Bowl gift to you. But go get that, get an audit, see what's going on your credit report. Story today, what to do if you've been laid off. Losing a job can be an incredibly stressful experience, especially if you don't have another job lined up. If your financial situation is uncertain due to a layoff, here are some steps you can take to mitigate some of the damage to your financial health as you work on finding a new job. Number one, sign up for COBRA or short-term coverage. The Consolidated Omnibus Budget Reconciliation Act, COBRA, was enacted in 1985 and provides workers and their families with an opportunity to continue health insurance coverage for a limited period after certain events, including voluntary or involuntary job loss. Unfortunately, COBRA coverage can be expensive, with employers allowed to charge up to 102% of the cost of the plan. But if you have chronic medical issues or you're worried about losing coverage, it can save you money in the long run. If you can't afford the cost of COBRA coverage, you could consider short-term health insurance coverage, depending upon where you live. Covered California, you can go to that one as well and check on that. It may even be cheaper than COBRA for those of you listening in the state of California. Depending upon where you live, you can get a policy for anywhere between 1 and up to 12 months, and you can choose coverage levels that make sense for you. Number two, apply for unemployment benefits. Unemployment insurance benefits and requirements to qualify can vary by state, but if you've lost your job through no fault of your own, you may be eligible to get enough coverage to meet your basic financial needs. Contact your state's unemployment insurance office to learn more about your options and eligibility requirements. Number three, consider a hardship withdrawal from your 401k. The hardship distribution rule allows you to take money from a 401k account if you're experiencing an immediate and heavy financial need, and you only take out the amount necessary to satisfy that need. While a job loss on its own does not qualify you for a hardship withdrawal, you may be eligible if your loss of employment results in other issues such as medical expenses, possible eviction or foreclosure, funeral costs, and more. Just keep in mind that a hardship distribution does not spare you from being taxed on the amount you withdraw that was not previously taxed. You may also incur a 10% penalty from the IRS. But if you have a sizable 401k balance or your credit needs some work, it could be a better alternative to trying to borrow money with a credit card or high interest loan. Number four, contact lenders about forbearance options. Regardless of the type of debt you have, you may be able to ask your lender to pause your monthly payments for a time, giving you some breathing room while you get back on your feet financially. Of course, availability and length of forbearance can vary based on the type of loan you have and your lender's policies. Also, some lenders may require you to make the payment you skipped once the forbearance period ends, while others may tack it onto the end of your repayment term. But even if you only get a break for a month or two, it could give you enough time to find a new job and get caught up. Number five, consider ways to reduce your expenses. Take a look at your budget and look for opportunities to pare back your spending while you look for a new job. If you have some flexibility with rent, for instance, you could consider having a roommate move in with you or vice versa, or even moving in with parents or other loved ones. You can also look at other areas of your budget, including eating out, streaming subscriptions, grocery shopping, and other spending categories, and set goals to limit your expenses. Number 6, give yourself some grace with debt. Even with your best efforts, you may need to rely on credit cards and other debt to make it through to your next paycheck. If this happens, resist the urge to beat yourself up about it. While it's not ideal to take on high-interest debt, missing important payments because you're putting your money toward other necessities could have a much greater impact on your financial wellness and for a longer time. Number 7, monitor your FICO scores. Your FICO score is dynamic, so while you may see it fall if you miss a payment or rack up a large balance, it won't stay that way forever. While you may not be able to prevent damage to your score, it's important to keep an eye on it throughout the process to understand how certain actions influence your FICO scores. Checking your FICO scores regularly can also help you spot issues that you can address so you can avoid further damage. Bottom line, getting laid off can be a dramatic experience, but there are some steps you can take to safeguard your financial health while you look for another job. As you consider these and other tips, tailor what you find to your situation and needs, and don't be afraid to switch up your strategy over time, particularly if your unemployment extends beyond what you expected. A couple of things there for you. Don't forget, when you do that free credit audit that we are offering right now, waiving that $197 fee, well, part of it, we're going to tell you to go to cleanall3.com, cleanall3.com. And that is exactly where you're going to be able to get that report. It gives you a true FICO score. I know it costs $1 for the trial period, and I don't know exactly what they charge for the ongoing monitoring, but it might be a big benefit to you. It might be $30, $40 well spent. Cleanall3.com. That is the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solution for you. Real-time real estate brought to you by rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Confused about what's going on in the housing market? Lean on a professional. That's a biggie right there. Chatting with the professionals. You need your area trusted professionals. You need your household board of directors. That would be your realtor, your mortgage person. That's us. Consumer advocate. That's me. Then you're going to also want to talk to an estate attorney, CPAs for tax planning, or an enrolled agent, insurance. All these folks are part of your area trusted professionals. Those are your household board of directors. And again, confused about what's going on in the housing market, talk to them. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home, you probably want to know what's really happening with home prices and mortgage rates, housing supply, and more. That's not an easy task considering how sensationalized headlines are today. Jay Thompson, real estate industry consultant, explains, quote, housing market headlines are everywhere. Many are quite sensational, ending with exclamation points or predicting impending doom for the industry. Clickbait. The sensationalizing of headlines and content has been an issue since the dawn of the internet, and housing and news is not immune to it, unquote. Unfortunately, when information in the media is not clear, it can generate a lot of fear and uncertainty in the market. As Jason Luris, co-founder and chief data officer at Parkle, says, quote, in the absence of trustworthy, up-to-date information, real estate decisions are increasingly being driven by fear, uncertainty, and doubt, unquote. But it doesn't have to be that way. Buying or selling a home is a big decision, and it should be one you feel confident making. To help you separate fact from fiction and get the answers you need, lean on a local real estate advisor. A trusted expert is your best resource to understand what's happening at the national and local levels. They'll be able to debunk the headlines using data you can trust, and using their in-depth knowledge of the industry, they'll provide context so you know how current trends compare to normal ebbs and flows in the industry, historical data, and more. Then, to make sure you have the full picture, they'll tell you if your local area is following the national trend or if they're seeing something different in your market. Together, you'll use all of that information to make the best possible decision for you. After all, Making a move is a potentially life-changing milestone. It should be something you feel ready for and excited about. And that's where the local professionals come about. Bottom line, if you have any questions about the headlines or what's happening in the housing market today, let's connect. We talk a lot about them. And in fact, we're going to go over a whole lot of the housing headlines. I think it is Wednesday this week when we do our segment, The Old Man and the Millennial. I am not the millennial. So we're going to talk a lot about the different headlines that are out there and what they mean to you, how you can use them, what's the real story behind them. So we'll get into all of those. I think it's Wednesday we're doing that program. We try to do it once a month. So we're going to watch that one on a regular basis. We'll watch that for you. And being that I don't have enough time to get a whole nother story in for you, Josh will get mad at me if we do that. I'm just going to see if I can give away some stuff. Thinking about buying a house, rsrfthbworkshop.com. rsrfthbworkshop.com. So we went through and did a whole workshop on getting ready to buy your next house. Could it be your first home? Yes. Could it be your move-up home? Yes. Could it be your right-sizing home? Yes. A lot of great information on there. So rsrfthbworkshop.com. We've got that one for you. And one of the biggest topics I ever talk about on Ron Siegel Radio is credit. So let's give you 3 different tools that you can actually get when we're dealing with credit. rsrcredittips.com, rsrcredittips.com. No spaces in there, rsrcredittips.com. Give you, obviously, some credit tips. And rsrcreditmistakes.com, rsrcreditmistakes.com. Help you avoid some of those pitfalls that come up. Maybe you know about them, maybe you don't. Always good news. rsrcreditmistakes.com. Right there. Just a whole bunch of different things to give you tools to make your finances better. If I don't give you these things, how can I call myself a consumer advocate? As always, I ask, though, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh, who's engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.